Have you ever been stuck on something at work, maybe a report, a project, a tricky email, and you finally gathered all your courage to ask a colleague for help, but then the words that came out of your mouth were something like, "Excuse me, can you help me?" And then there was this awkward pause. And you just stood there thinking, why does this feel so weird? Yeah. I've been there. And honestly, it's not because your English is bad. It's because no one ever taught you the right chunks for this exact moment. Welcome to Lady Show English, the place where we fix those awkward English moments, one real-life situation at a time. Today, we are talking about one of the most common things you need to do every single day, asking for help, and I'm going to give you the exact phrases that make you sound natural, confident, and professional. So stay with me, because the first chunk we're about to cover, you're going to want to use it tomorrow morning. Okay, let's get straight to it. Here are your 4 core chunks for asking for help, and I want you to listen carefully, because each one has a slightly different feel. Chunk 1, could you help me with? This is your everyday, go-to phrase. It's polite, it's clear, and it works in almost any situation. For example, could you help me with this presentation? I'm not sure about the structure. Simple, direct, and friendly. Chunk 2, I'd appreciate your input on. Now this one sounds more professional. You're not just asking for help, you're saying that the other person's opinion or expertise matters to you. Try this, I'd appreciate your input on this proposal before I send it to the client. That one sentence? It shows respect. It shows you value their knowledge. Use it in meetings, emails, with your boss, it works every time. Chunk 3, would you mind taking a look at? This is a softer, more considerate way to ask. You're acknowledging that the other person is busy, and you're asking gently. Like this, would you mind taking a look at my report? I just want to make sure everything is clear. See how that feels less like a demand and more like an invitation? Chunk 4, can I ask for your advice on? And this one is perfect when you want someone's guidance, not just their help. It's great for mentors, senior colleagues, or situations where you're a little unsure about something important. For example, can I ask for your advice on how to handle this situation with a client? 4 chunks. 4 different tones. And coming up, I'm going to show you how to mix and match them, plus some bonus expressions that will make your English sound even more natural. Now that you have the 4 core chunks, let's go deeper. Because in real conversations, you don't always want to use the exact same phrase, that sounds robotic. So I'm going to give you 1 or 2 alternatives for each chunk, so you have options. Around, could you help me with? A close alternative is there any chance you could help me with? This sounds even more polite, almost a little humble, as if you're aware you might be asking a lot. You might say, is there any chance you could help me with this data? I've been stuck on it all morning. Another option, do you have a moment to help me with? This is great because you're also checking if they're free, which is a very considerate move. Do you have a moment to help me with this contract? Around, I'd appreciate your input on. You can also say, I'd love to get your thoughts on. It's slightly warmer and more conversational. For instance, I'd love to get your thoughts on this email draft, does the tone sound right to you? Or, it would be really helpful to hear your perspective on, a bit longer, but it really emphasizes that their view is valuable. Around, would you mind taking a look at? A similar phrase is, could you spare a few minutes to review? This one works especially well in written communication. Could you spare a few minutes to review my slides before the meeting? You could also say, would it be okay if I asked you to check? Very soft, very considerate, would it be okay if I asked you to check this report for any errors? Around, can I ask for your advice on? Try, I'd really value your opinion on. And this one signals that you genuinely respect the person. I'd really value your opinion on whether we should move forward with this plan. Or even simply, what do you think about? Short, casual, and still effective when you want a quick take. What do you think about this approach? I want to make sure I'm on the right track. Each of these feels slightly different, and choosing the right one for the right moment is what takes your English from just correct to truly natural. And next, we're going to put all of these into real mini dialogues, so you can actually hear how they flow. Alright, let's bring these chunks to life. I'm going to play both roles here. Think of it as a little workplace drama in two voices, and I want you to notice which chunks appear and how they fit into the conversation. Mini Dialogue 1, Asking a Colleague for Feedback. Imagine you walk up to your colleague and say, I need you to look at my report. Okay. Not great. That sounds like an order, not a request. It might make the other person feel a little put on the spot. Now try this instead. You walk over and say, Hey, sorry to interrupt, do you have a moment? Would you mind taking a look at my report? I just want to double-check the numbers before I submit it. Completely different feeling, right? You're being considerate of their time, you're explaining why you need help, and you're using a chunk that softens the request beautifully. Mini Dialogue 2, Asking your manager for guidance. You go to your manager and say, I don't know what to do. Can you help me? That's a bit vague, and it might make you sound unprepared. Instead, try. Hi, do you have a few minutes? I'd really appreciate your input on how to approach the Johnson account. I've got a few ideas, but I'd love to hear your thoughts before I move forward. See what happened there? You used I'd appreciate your input on, you showed that you've already been thinking about it, and you invited their perspective rather than just dumping the problem on them. That's the kind of English that builds trust. Mini Dialogue 3, Asking a friend or casual colleague. You're having lunch with a friend from another department and you say, Hey, can I ask for your advice on something? I've been having trouble figuring out how to talk to a difficult client, and I know you've dealt with situations like this before. That chunk, can I ask for your advice on, is perfect here because it's both warm and respectful. You're acknowledging their experience, and that makes people want to help you. Great, right? 3 very different situations, 3 different chunks, all feeling completely natural. And speaking of natural, there are actually a couple more expressions worth knowing. Let me show you those next. We've covered 4 core chunks and their alternatives. But I want to leave you with 2 more bonus expressions that you'll hear all the time, and that you can start using right away. Bonus chunk 1, I was hoping you could. This is a really lovely, soft way to make a request. It has a slightly hesitant, humble tone, almost like you're not completely sure if it's okay to ask. And interestingly, that actually makes it sound more polite. For example, I was hoping you could take a look at this before tomorrow's meeting, would that be possible? And notice that little ending, would that be possible? It makes the whole request feel even more considerate and gentle. Bonus chunk 2, I hate to bother you, but. This one is great when you know the person is busy, and you want to acknowledge that before you ask. For example, I hate to bother you, but could you help me with something quickly? It won't take long. That small opener. I hate to bother you shows awareness, it shows respect for their time, and people really do appreciate that kind of thoughtfulness. 2 small additions, but they make a big difference in how natural and thoughtful you sound. And now, are you ready to test yourself? Because we've got a quick quiz coming up, and I promise, it's fun. Okay, quiz time. I'll give you a situation, and you pick the best chunk. Ready? Let's go. Question 1, you want to ask your colleague to review your email draft before you send it. Which is the most natural thing to say? A, read my email. B, would you mind taking a look at my email before I send it? C, you must help me with my email. The answer is B, would you mind taking a look at? It's polite, considerate, and sounds completely natural. Question 2. You're talking to your manager about an important decision, and you want their opinion. Which phrase fits best? A, what do you think? Tell me. B, I'd appreciate your input on this decision. C, I don't know. Help. The answer is B. I'd appreciate your input on. It's professional and respectful, exactly right for talking to a manager. Question 3. You want to ask a senior colleague for guidance on a tricky situation. Which chunk is the best fit? A. Can I ask for your advice on how to handle this? B. Could you do this for me? C. This is difficult. Fix it. The answer is A. Can I ask for your advice on? This chunk is perfect when you want someone's guidance, not just their action. Question 4. You know your colleague is really busy, but you need a small favor. Which opener shows the most consideration? A. Hey, I need help now. B. I hate to bother you, but could you help me with something quickly? C. You're not busy, right? Help me. The answer is B. I hate to bother you, but acknowledges their time and makes your request feel much warmer and more considerate. Nice work. 4 questions, and you nailed the logic behind each chunk. Now let's wrap this up with a quick review. Alright, you made it to the end, and honestly, your English for asking for help is already better than it was 10 minutes ago. So let me give you a quick recap of everything we covered today. Your 5 core expressions for asking for help, naturally and confidently. 1. Could you help me with? Your everyday, reliable go-to. 2. I'd appreciate your input on, professional and respectful, great for the workplace. 3. Would you mind taking a look at? Soft, considerate, perfect when someone is busy. 4. Can I ask for your advice on? Ideal when you want guidance from someone experienced. 5. I was hoping you could, humble and warm, works beautifully in most situations. Challenge, use at least one of these today in real life. Language sticks when you use it. If this helped, subscribe to Ladies Show English, like the video, and share in the comments which situation you find most difficult.